Hey everyone, I'm SpiderMan 1991 and I like to read comic books. And I want to talk about all the comic books that I read for the week that came out on June 11, 2014. Let's get started with DC Comics. First off, Batman Eternal, number 5. Alright, last issue we saw Catwoman get kidnapped, pretty much get captured by Falcone. And in this issue, Batman pretty much goes and saves her from Falcone and also Professor Pig, who shows up to Falcone's compound to get revenge for Falcone's men destroying his lab. Also, Batman is able to successfully save Catwoman without interference from the GCPD, thanks to Lieutenant Bard, who was the recent hire Gordon made before his arrest. And after Batman saves Catwoman, she tells him that while she was kidnapped, Falcone let some information slip that he only came back to Gotham after someone told him about all the stuff that's going to be happening, which is hinting at a bigger enemy. Also, while the whole Batman saving Catwoman thing is going on, Stephanie Brown, who's trying to avoid being caught by her father's men. Her dad is Cluemaster, the supervillain. She apparently starts leaking information about the Cluemaster online, and she does this by working out of a Gotham library and also hiding in there as well to make sure that she doesn't get caught. Okay, obviously we're still getting illusions. We're pretty much getting hints of a bigger enemy, larger than Falcone, for Batman Eternal. Obviously, because this series is going to be going on year round, coming out almost every week. For the next year, so yeah, obviously Falcone won't be the main enemy here, which I think is a good idea, and it's something similar to what Scott Snyder is doing in Zero Year in the main Batman title. Is that he didn't have just one enemy for the entire arc; he was just kind of like building up to it in a way. He kind of like built it up with like different acts in a way, and I think that's what we're getting here with Batman Eternal. Is that right now for this first act, our enemy is Falcone, but we have this bigger enemy who we don't know who he or she is yet. So I think that reveal is probably going to come soon, maybe after Falcone is caught, or maybe afterwards, or possibly after, a little after, maybe after the next arc, I suppose. But overall, Batman Eternal I think is a great series. It's something that Batman fans should definitely check out. I mean, if you want a Batman title. If you want to have a Batman title almost every week in your pull list, then this is something I definitely recommend. And also, the series is only $2.99, which I think is a very reasonable price for a comic. So, Batman Eternal number 10, still definitely a buy. Right, next up, Justice League United number 2. I had to get the Bombshell variant because that was the only cover that was in stock at my local comic shop. Alright, so pretty much in this issue, Supergirl has officially joined the team after they've teleported on Rann. And also, while they're on Rann, our heroes learn that the scientists of Rann worked with a bunch of other representatives from other planets, Thanagar, Caesarea, a bunch of other planets, trying to end a war by basically saying that they could create a being that they could use that could have DNA from almost all different races across the galaxy, that could be sort of an ambassador to help sort things out, so there would be no need for war. But unfortunately, someone found out about the project, and they decided to take that information and use it to create the being that they thought of named Ultra, as a weapon rather than a peacebringer. So the team is eventually able to work with the Rann scientists and locate where the Ultra project is happening. Where also, once they get there, Adam Strange reunites with his girlfriend Alana, who was teleported in issue 0. But however, right when the team gets there, Ultra is officially born, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, I like this book. Okay, I like the team lineup. We've got Martian Manhunter, Supergirl, Stargirl, Green Arrow, Animal Man, Adam Strange, Hawkman. It's a good lineup. I think it does have potential. Right now, we only have 2 issues left in the first story arc. So I still feel like this book does have potential. I mean, it's written by Jeff Lemire, and he's a fantastic writer. He's done a great job on the Green Green Arrow title and the Animal Man title. So I think this is in good hands. I just want to see how this. So I think I'm going to keep with it for the first story arc, and then after that I'll decide whether or not I want to keep this book. But honestly, I like Jeff Lemire's work, so I think he could. So I think if anyone could pull it off, he could. One of the things that I do like about this title, though, is the banter between Animal Man and Green Arrow, because they argue a lot, and it's really funny when you hear them speak. Which I guess is sort of funny because I did read all of Jeff Lemire's Animal Man. I'm currently reading his Green Arrow series, so I think if you've read Animal Man and Green Arrow, you'll like that part of this book. But for now, I would say probably for Justice League United, just borrow it from a friend. All right, next up, time for Marvel with all new X-Men number 28. Time travel stories are pretty much very difficult reading at times because some time travel stories are really great, others terribly bad because it's really more about the execution of how time travel is used. And in this issue, we learn that the reason the Future Brotherhood is back is because when they were planning their scheme to go back into the past and take out the X-Men before in the past, they pretty much Reyes, the son of Mystique and Wolverine, said that the beauty of time travel is that we can go back, and if we fail, we can just go back the day before we left and send us a note with instructions to make sure we don't lose. And just when I heard that, I was just like, oh my god, there's so much wrong with that. It's too ridiculous when you hear it out loud, and at that point I was just like, really, that's how they're back? They didn't break out of prison or they didn't escape or anything. They just had to go, oh hey, we're going back because we have instructions on how to escape it and stuff. I mean, just right when I saw that scene, I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna drop this title soon. I think basically all new X-Men. It started off at the beginning, it was pretty awesome. Then somewhere after Battle for the Atom, I just kind of wasn't really. The book really hasn't been the same. So I would say all new X-Men right now, you can skip it. All right, next up, Amazing Spider-Man 1.2, continuing the Learning to Crawl story arc, which this issue takes place during Amazing Spider-Man during the events of Amazing Spider-Man number 1. It starts off right after Spider-Man went and saw the Fantastic Four for the first time, asking to join, and they said no. And also it takes place during Spider-Man's first fight with the Chameleon. But the unique thing about this, the main story that this issue focuses on is the character Clash, who is this kid named Clayton something. He decides to try and emulate Spider-Man by building his own sound tech and using a costume similar to Spider-Man's to fight crime. And after he fails to go after the Vulture, Clash decides to hire Spider-Man so they could have a fight with each other that he could stream online to help get his name Clash out. And of course this is still when when Peter Parker was still just only really more about money rather than rather than helping, still trying to figure out how he can use his Spider-Man powers to make money, especially after he can't really do any more show gigs. But basically Clash hires Spider-Man through his agent to do the online fight, and Spider-Man shows up and they fight for a bit, but then when Clash turns up his sonic tech and nearly takes out an entire chimney stock, Spider-Man decides, okay, this is getting a little too dangerous. Okay, this is it, and just webs Clash up, and then takes the rest of the money he was promised and decides to leave. At that point, Clash is like very angry, like, I believed in you. The classic scene, I believed in you, and you humiliated me. I was wrong about you and stuff. So I think at that point, Spider-Man just created another supervillain for himself. And also earlier in the issue, because of the first encounter with the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Peter had a black eye, and at first he blamed it And at first, he kind of tried to blame it on someone else, and the principal thought he meant Flash Thompson. And at which point, Flash was, and after that, Peter didn't say anything until the end of the issue. After his encounter with Flash, he tells him that, Flash didn't give me the black eye. He's innocent in all this, and so Peter kind of learned a lesson in all this, and that's pretty much what happens. Overall, I like this whole Learn to Crawl story arc that's going on in the .1 issues of Amazing Spider-Man right now, because they're not necessarily retelling Spider-Man's origin. They're more of a companion piece that goes along with the earlier issues of Spider-Man. And also, the artwork in this is great. It really does look a lot like the first few issues of Spider-Man, which is great. Also, they're really doing a good job sort of expanding on the cast that Peter had in the earlier days at Midtown High. And also we do get this kind of like a little more in-depth look at how Spider-Man went from being the guy who only cared about money to starting to become more, I would say, selfless and becoming one of Marvel's best heroes. So yeah, if you really do like the early issues if you've read the early issues of Spider-Man, which you can find anywhere, probably download digitally or the Marvel Masterworks line, you should probably get those, and also get them while reading Learn to Crawl, because I think that would be a great thing to do, since these stories are interesting. They kind of take place during the events of those early issues, which is very nice. I think that's a great structure Dan Slott is doing with this story arc. So overall, Amazing Spider-Man 1.2 is definitely a buy. Alright, next up, Nightcrawler, number 3. Basically Nightcrawler, after they deal with Trimega in Germany, Kurt decides to take Amanda Sefton and Margali, his foster mother, back to the Jean Grey School for protection. However, no one trusts Margali, and right when they do like separate interviews for Amanda and Margali, where Rachel at first reads Amanda's mind, Amanda pretty much attacks Rachel Grey and gets out of her room. Then Margali attacks Storm and Beast, pretty much escapes. And also, after both of them escape, apparently Amanda, through her dialogue, we know that she's hiding something. She obviously knows what the Trimegas could be, and right after both of them break out, suddenly there's a whole army of the Trimega guys attacking the Jean Grey School, calling out the destruction of all mutants. Okay, yeah, this book is really, I don't know, I want to feel like it's not really, I figured since it's entitled Nightcrawler, it would be focused on Nightcrawler, and there are some parts that are really focused on Nightcrawler, such as while Margali and Amanda are being interrogated, Logan goes to see Kurt, and they talk, and they kind of have like this cool bro moment where where you pretty much can tell these two are the best of friends, and also Kurt's kind of like still dealing with the fact that he pretty much chose to leave heaven and fight with the X-Men again, and he's worried that he's not going to get his place back into heaven. And Logan tells him that basically, if you're worried about that, just earn it back. You can do, and pretty much tells him like, you can do it, man. Hang in there. So yeah, that was probably one of the best scenes of this issue, was the conversation between Logan and Nightcrawler. I thought that was really one of the best things in this issue. Other than that, everything else just wasn't really that great. Also, this Trimega guy, he just seems like a hired gun at this point. He's just someone hired to obviously attack Amanda, and that's just what I think of it. Overall, I would say Nightcrawler number 3. If you just want to see that scene between Logan and Nightcrawler, I'd say borrow this from a friend. Otherwise, you can skip it. Alright, last issue. She-Hulk number 5. She-Hulk is starting to investigate the secrets of the Blue File, along with Hellcat and her paralegal secretary, Angie Wang. However, though, each time they investigate the Blue File, something mysterious happens. When She-Hulk, well, not really for She-Hulk, she goes and talks to Shocker, who was part of this, and he apparently can't remember anything. He tries actually using his gauntlets on himself to see if that jogs anything, but nothing. Also, when Hellcat goes to see Tigra about it, she mentions the name of the person who sued them, and suddenly Hellcat goes feral, attacks Tigra goes feral, attacks Hellcat, nearly kills her, and then Tigra is about to kill herself, but fortunately Hellcat's able to stop her. Also, when Angie goes to investigate through the law secretary's office in North Dakota, which is where the lawsuit took place, she finds out what happened. And when she goes to make a copy of the information, the secretary who's working there takes out a gun and gets ready to shoot her. So yeah, pretty much there is definitely a lot more to this blue file than meets the eye. And it's very interesting because that's something that we had, and well, it's only been 5 issues, but way back in issue 1, that was something that She-Hulk obviously knew the file felt important. It was the only thing she took with her after she quit her job at her last firm. So I'm really curious about what this blue file is, why no one in it seems to have any recollection about what happened or what it was about. So, it looks very interesting, and I think that this is something that, and overall, I think She-Hulk is a great series. I'm really loving this issue, really loving this series. It's very interesting. I would definitely say if you haven't read She-Hulk before, you should definitely start with this series because it's very awesome. I really do like her as a character. She's someone who's not really, she's not really a superhero. Because the way Charles Soule writes her, she's really more of a lawyer first, then a superhero, which I think is, and sometimes if the situation calls for it, like most of the time, she can be both. So I think that's great. I really think that if you haven't read She-Hulk before, you should definitely start with this series because it is awesome. So yeah, overall, She-Hulk number 5 is definitely a buy. Okay, that's it for my comic reviews this week. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm really close to 500 subscribers. I really want to hit that number soon. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out my channel. I'm SpiderMan 1991 saying see you later.